Okay, welcome to another edition of the Edlow podcast. Subscribe. Uh, I say every single time I'm excited for my next guest, but this is no different. I have Dez from the new, well, I don't know if it's new. How long you been doing NorCal Eats?
Like a year and a half, so not too long, not too
Yeah,
long.
I'd say that's still new. Yeah.
Pretty new, yeah.
Yeah, so, I have Dez from Dez NorCal Eats. He's been on, you're really most of your followers, it seems like it's on Instagram, and you got to YouTube. Are you on TikTok as well? Is that right?
TikTok, Facebook, yeah. Recently, the Facebook and TikTok have kind of been going up now.
Yeah.
So
So funny, man, when you're doing content creation, you never know what's gonna hit. You know what I mean? And you don't know which one's gonna hit where, I have some content that does huge on Facebook, and then others that do good on Instagram, and some that do on TikTok, and then, YouTube. It's just, I've given up trying to figure out the algorithm.
I I completely agree. You know, a wise person once told me the content that you put your heart in and you try so hard in, don't get disappointed. That's usually the ones that don't blow up. It's the ones that you just do it without thinking. You need to put something out, you just do it quickly. Those are usually the ones that take off. So basically, to me, that means don't think too hard about it. Just let your creativity flow and just do what you
Yeah,
think is best.
you know what I found actually for me? I just found like, man, just have fun with it and just have a good time and it'll take care of itself.
Exactly.
Eventually, it's a marathon, not a sprint. You gotta figure it out as you go.
100%.
How many videos have you put out now?
I think I'm at like 140,
Dang, man.
140,
So
140.
are you doing mainly shorts then?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Now me and my friend Manveer Eats, I have him in a lot of my videos with me.
Mhm.
He started getting me a little more into like knowing about YouTube and the long videos, and that's where the money's at and where you want to, really attack. So he's recently have been putting me on with all that, and we've started some long YouTube videos. So that's my next goal. That's my next step is to hopefully do social media sometimes, clips and stuff and be full time on YouTube.
Yeah, the the long videos is really where you're gonna make your money on YouTube if you're trying to do it for finances, because you need like 10 million views of shorts before they start even allowing you to make money, and, you only need 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours, which is really not that hard to do if you're doing good content.
No,
Yeah,
no. I'm already halfway there. I'm at like 550. So
yeah,
I should get to 1K in no time.
yeah. So tell me, tell me, I talked off air, you got moved here when you're 9 and been basically in the Sacramento area in different places your whole life. Uh, so tell me, what was it about food that made you wanna do this?
So as far as Sac, I moved back actually to the Bay Area after high school. I just moved
Mm.
back to Sacramento like 2 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Um, yeah, so that's why I just decided to go with NorCal as my name, just because I've been up and down NorCal my whole life.
Mhm.
Um, and then as far as what got me into it, and why I love to do these food reviews now is I've just always been a big eater. I was
Yeah.
always that kid that was like, "Hey, you need to stop eating. You're gonna get a stomach ache. You're gonna throw up. You're gonna get sick." And I would, just have no control, especially if I see my favorites around. I was never picky either. Like I was very, very good at eating anything. And it's crazy to see it now with my first son. He's a year and a half, and that boy is a vacuum. He'll anything you put in front of him, avocado, blueberries, eggs, like anything, broccoli, he'll attack it. So I think it's just something that's always been in me. I also love to cook. Everyone's told me that I make good food and I should start a chef page as well.
Hmm.
So I just feel like it's just always been in me. I know I don't look it. Everyone thinks I'm not, but I'm full Mexican, so that's another
Mm.
part. I grew up in that culture, grandma, aunts, all that making food for every holiday. Those summers with those barbecues and all that amazing food. Like I grew up with all that, so I don't. I just always had a passion and love for food.
Yeah. I see also, I've seen in your content, you got a bunch of different music shirts. I see you're wearing Iron Maiden. Are you a big rock fan? Are you a music fan?
I'm a huge music fan. Before this, actually, since high school, I tried to make it with music. I
Mm,
used to try to sing and rap and do the hip hop scene. But as far as music, I'm very, very heavily influenced with so many genres. I do
mm.
love rock. I love jazz. I love indie. I love old school is my favorite. Between 60s and 80s. Oh man,
Yeah. Is
you
there, like,
can't
a
get me out of there.
specific genre that you like in the '60s and '80s? Because 'Cause I'm a big '60s fan. I like Woodstock, I love watching I loved the documentary when I was a kid and had the soundtrack and all that. I love '60s music.
I'm not picky when it comes to all that music. Like I honestly, you could put something now and it won't really make me feel much, and you could
Mhm.
put something from back then and I just feel it. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, what song is that? I need to add it to my Spotify. Like it just
Yeah.
does things. I don't know. It's a different time. It's a different feeling for music for sure.
Yeah, I've schooled my kids. My kids are all teenagers now, and, uh, every Sunday morning, I do breakfast with '80s pop in the background, and then dinner's always
Love
'90s
that.
alternative, I think they all agree that music back then was way better than it is now. So,
You're winning as a father if you have your teenage kids thinking like that already.
yeah, that's
That's
I know,
amazing.
I know, they're good kids. The reason I bring up I saw Iron Maiden live a couple years ago at Power Trip, and in
That's
watching
so
them,
cool.
yeah, they like, I've never been, like, a huge Iron Maiden fan. I was there because they had a bunch of bands there, but when I saw them, 'em, I'm like, "Oh, man, these guys are awesome." Like, just a live awesome band, and they had this, like, giant alien showing up, and they had a big gun, they're blowing them up, and I go, "This is the coolest thing I've ever seen," you know? It's awesome. So, yeah. Yeah, man, music's
They're
fun.
amazing.
Yeah, so you did music and you were doing rap and, wa is that, like, why you went to the Bay Area? You were kinda spending a lot of time doing it up there?
Yes and no. I went through some things after high school, and I just needed to move back and just get away from Sacramento for a while.
Mm,
But also that's what led me to start doing music. I connected with this big engineer and manager that was managing big acts here in the Bay Area.
mm,
And I started hitting this studio called the Grill Studio in Oakland.
mm,
It's very legendary. Tupac, Mac Dre, like artists from now, like all recorded there. It's been there since the early '90s. So I just started going crazy, and some stuff stuck, some didn't. Of course, when stuff just doesn't pop off, eventually you start questioning it. Life got in the way, health issues. I ended up having my first kid.
mm,
And to be honest, that's also why I did this food page because I've been saying for 7 years I was gonna do it, and I never did, just because of life. And when I had my son, I said, "Omar, if you don't do this now, you're never gonna do it. Like, your life is gonna be you're gonna have less time now that you have a son, and it's just gonna be excuses always." So, um, big reason why I just decided to attack it. At first, I was literally taking my baby and my whole family with me to review, like everywhere
yeah,
I went. It
right,
became a family thing. And
mm,
then with time, I started trying to be more consistent, so I didn't bring him as much.
yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, man, I've noticed that the consistency is so important. I remember one time my first year doing podcasting, it moved pretty quick, and then, I took my kids down to LA for WrestleMania, and, and I took 1 week off, and there was a steep drop in my views just in a
Oh
week,
yeah.
and so I was like, "Man, I can't do that," and so it's been weekly since. So, I just you gotta pop out the content, man, prepare for those times off.
Have to. I mean, it's easy to get burnt out. I've
Mm,
gotten burnt out a couple times of taking a month or 2 off. But I always notice my numbers tank. Like, if I try to post after that, it's not the numbers that I want. And
right.
it's usually when you're consistent again, the algorithm starts picking you back up and starts pushing you out more. So, I'm at a point where I'm feeling a little bit burnt out right now, but I'm at the height of what I'm doing right now. I have so many opportunities and doors being open. So I'm pushing myself, after my 9 to 5, I'm reviewing, editing, doing what I have to do to just keep being consistent. Yesterday I reviewed right after work and then I stayed up till 1 in the morning editing some videos so I can have content for today and tomorrow. So it's just, I always say, how bad do you want it? It
Yeah.
always comes down to that.
And that's with everything, man. Like, one thing my son said on the topic that you mentioned about, about, social, knowing that you've been talking about it for years. I remember we used to do this thing, and we don't do it so much anymore because the kids are older and harder to teenagers are hard to deal with. But we used to, when we get around the dinner table, we'd go around the room and say one nice thing about each other. And I remember my oldest son one time, because I'm in a lot of things. I'm a lawyer, partner at a law firm, so that takes up a lot of time. I do wrestling, I
Wow.
do podcasting, I do all these different things. And he told me, he goes, "One thing I appreciate about you is that you don't just talk about doing these things, you do them. You said you wanted to be a wrestler, so you did it. You said you wanted to be a lawyer, so you did it. You said you wanted to be a podcaster, so you did it. So you just go and do things." And I realized, you probably think, "Oh, you're not gonna have this time, you're doing all these things," but you're setting an example for your kids. If you want something, you go try it, and who cares if you fail at it? You tried it, right? Because so many people don't. And the other thing that you said, you're getting burnt out right now, but you're at the height. This is the place that separates the people who are successful and those who give up, right? Like, this is the spot.
100%.
Yeah, and so, you just gotta keep moving forward. I mean, your content's great. I saw it and immediately was like, "I gotta get this guy on my podcast." I mean, I saw your content,
Thank
not
you.
no joke, like 2 days ago, and I'm a big fan of, like, diners, drive-ins, and dives, and I'm like and I was like,
Me too.
"Oh, this is exact." I was like, "This is exactly what I've needed in my life, is I need this place to tell me all the cool places." When I saw you had bacon and butter on your breakfast ones, I was like, "Okay, he's got good taste." You know? It's like, I know he knows what he's talking about.
Thank you. A lot of people shot me down for putting that as number one. So many people saying it's overhyped. They've had so many bad experiences. The food comes out cold and it's not good. I'm like, I always tell people I can only go based off my own experiences. If I had a
Yeah,
good time, if the customer service was great, which to me is more important than the food,
yeah.
and the food, was warm for me and tasted lovely for me, like I'm sorry about your experience, but I can't go based off everybody else's experiences. I can only shoot and record and give you guys my own experience.
I remember one time I went out there because it's near where I work, and it was like a 45-minute wait to get in.
Oh, it's long.
It's definitely not bad if you gotta wait 45 minutes to get a seat. I mean,
Right.
line out the door, you know what I mean? So,
And
definitely feel
and and if it was all hype, right, that line would die down eventually.
right.
It's always there.
Yeah,
It's always there.
yeah. Yeah, man. So, what like, when it comes to deciding what restaurants you're gonna do, w like, what how do you walk me through the process of deciding which ones you're gonna review?
So there's different processes. Some of them are because I scope out a lot. I do homework, so
Mhm,
a lot of places are due to me doing my research and going to places that catch my eye. I also have a lot of people that message me, a lot of restaurants, establishments that message me, want me to come do their restaurants. And whether you're a food vendor or anything, I say yes. Um,
mhm.
and then some of it is recommendation. Some of it is either a family member or somebody. I have so many messages from so many people I don't know. You need to try this place. You need to try that place. You need to, so it's just a handful of things. Sometimes I'm driving and I see a place that catches my eye. So it's a handful of things. It's a handful of things.
Well, can you tell me a restaurant in Sacramento that maybe wasn't, like, on your radar, but then it caught your eye, and you tried it, and you're like, "Dude, I gotta let everybody know about this." Was there one that you can think of?
Yes. Probably my biggest video before I got this million view video, my biggest video was this Mexican place. And instantly when I saw it on TikTok, I fell in love. I
Mhm,
used to go to Mexico with my dad growing up all my life.
mhm.
And it just completely reminded me of there. Like it's in Rio Linda, so it's like a kind of the ranch area.
Yeah.
And they have like this little ranch with like a backyard, and it's it gives you that Mexico feel, man. Like
Is that the one I saw the video is the one where, it's like a backyard, they got, like, the stuff, hanging up and you're sitting outside on
Yes.
benches? Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes. Them.
yeah.
I fell in love with, like, the TikTok video I saw of them. So,
Mhm,
I went and the food was amazing, the people were nice, There's chickens and stuff in the background. Like it just makes you feel like you're there. You know,
Yeah.
it's the feeling you get. It's authentic. You can't get that anywhere else. I feel like so. I made a video for them and it blew up, and they actually didn't have permits at the time. So um,
You're like, "Whoops."
they yeah, I got so scared, they shut down, they were like they got scared, because
Mm,
they sold out, like, for a couple weekends, and they got really scared, so,
mm,
I told them, I'm like, "Just do the permits, I don't understand why you don't, you know, it'll benefit you more." So they listened, they ended up creating a social media page,
mm.
and I went again, and that video blew up again and gave them, like, over 1,000 followers in, like, couple days.
Nice.
Um, yes, and then I added them to this top 5,
Mhm.
and it blew that's my first million view video, and they sold out these last couple weekends, and they're so grateful. That honestly, that's why I do it. It's that brings me so much joy, you know, being able to have them be so just happy and grateful for you and say, you know, "Thank you. You made this much of a difference for us," you know, and to the point where they're like, "If you wanna host a party here, a kids party, anything, come it's yours. Like, this house is yours." So, it's it's how you treat people. It's
Yeah,
it's 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 having that respect for other people and admiration for other people's, you know, craft and work. It opens so many doors, so many doors.
yeah. So that place, what remind me the name of the place?
It's, Birreria Chirpres.
Okay, and that's in Rio Linda. And
Correct.
are they still back in the same spot, or did they have to move?
No, they're at the same spot. They're at the same
Mhm.
they actually expanded now, so now they have a food truck also that's off I don't wanna get it wrong. I wanna say it's like Madison or Carmichael, I'm not too sure.
Okay. And then you if someone goes there, what would you recommend they eat?
I'm not sure if I know it's subjective. Menudo is very subjective.
Okay,
But their menudo is amazing.
okay,
Amazing. Like that broth is very, very flavorful. Um,
nice.
their birria, their goat actually birria is really, really good.
Mm,
You can get it just a plate, you know, with the rice and beans and stuff, or you can get the quesadillas.
mhm,
Those I also recommend. And then their aguas frescas are really good as well.
nice. So, as far as, like, do you have it sounds like Mexican food is kinda like your bread and butter. There's a ton of Mexican places around here. Did what was up did you ever wanna do a Chando's Tacos episode? Did you ever even think about doing that? Not
No.
not
Um,
not a fan?
I've never been,
Okay.
but but I keep my ear to what goes on, you know, and
Mm,
I pay attention to a lot of things. And later on, I don't want to bring up nobody's business, but it was kind of like I was always right. I know they ended up shutting down,
mm,
and I don't know if they opened back up, but to me, like I said, food is a big part of it, but food isn't everything. You know, if I
mhm,
don't see eye to eye with how you move and what you stand for, or you know, certain things, like I can't do it. You know, like Kevin Johnson's place. I've heard Kevin Johnson's what is it called, Fixins or something downtown.
mhm, mhm.
I've heard that place is pretty good,
Mm.
but I also know a lot of things about Kevin Johnson
Yeah, I think we
that
all
I'm
do.
like, you know what? I'm like, I don't want to associate myself with that. I stand
Yeah,
behind morals and principles as a man, especially because I have kids and sons now that I need to, look up to me and, see the way that I do things and, have respect for myself enough to say no
mhm.
to things that don't align with me. So, there's just, I'm a strong believer in doing what's right. It's not always what's going to be the most views or what's going to blow up. It's who I can help and for the right reasons.
Yeah, it's funny, that reminds me of a story. I was, probably, like, 3rd, 4th year attorney, and I picked up this case, and, my mentor, he's now my partner, but at the time, we were, we had a case that I had done a demand to the insurance company for $1.25 million, and at the time, as a 3rd or
Wow.
4th year attorney, I'm like, "Man, the fee on that's gonna be great, if I could get that paid out." And, I got some information on the case that suggested that the guy had not been honest with me about
Wow.
how bad his injuries were, and so I went and we were, like, I mean, 6, 8 weeks from trial, right? So we'd had this case for a year and a half. I went to my boss or my mentor, he's my boss at the time, and I said to him, I go, I don't know what to do because he lied to me and I don't really feel good about representing him, but it's $1.25 million. And he said, fire him. He said, tell him you're not going to represent him. And I was like, well, but it's a huge, fee. And he goes, are you sure you want me to do that? We got a lot of costs in this case. And he was like, there's no amount of money worth your integrity. And so the interesting thing about that story is I did drop the case. I called the referral source and told him, and he was not happy with me. And then I get a call about 3 months later from the referral source telling me that another attorney had taken on the case, went to a mediation. When they went to the mediation, the mediator came to the attorney and was like, I can't tell you what the defense has on your case, but you need to settle this case for whatever they give you. and ended up resolving the case for about $25,000. And
Wow.
so that was a great, that was a great lesson to me that, but that's true. Even if he had gotten $1 million, it wasn't worth my integrity, you know?
Well, because what people don't understand is money comes and goes, but once you associate yourself with that, that's your name behind it. That's what people are gonna view you as,
Yeah.
and that's very important. It can get in the way of opportunities and doors opening for you later.
Yeah.
I'm always thinking future 10 steps ahead. So
Yeah. Absolutely. So now you've been doing this for a year and a half. Is there a restaurant that you're thinking about you want to review that haven't yet, or a type of food that you wish you could do more?
plenty,
Yeah.
plenty. Yeah, I have so many restaurants I can't wait to go to. I just I've been so booked. Um, as far as type of food, I've there's this Jamaican place. I've always wanted to try Jamaican food. I've
Mm,
actually never tried it,
mm,
and I'm very, very open when it comes to, just trying different things. So
mhm,
I think it's in Vallejo.
mm.
I've heard nothing but great things about it. I forgot the name of it, but that's definitely one I'm really, really trying. Like I want to try.
Yeah. Is there a type of food that you think, um well, let's start with this question first. Do you ho If you were to rate Sacramento food versus some of the other spots you've been, would you say the Sacramento's underrated, overrated? What do you think?
Underrated,
Yeah? Why is
underrated.
that?
Aside from, let's just say, just the food scene itself, I
Mhm,
feel like Sacramento's very overlooked for so many things.
mhm,
Um, it's always, it's that it's dead, it's dull, there's nothing to do, there's nothing to eat, there's nowhere to go. They make it seem like we have nothing here,
mhm,
and as the state capital, like I find that very, very crazy.
mhm,
But the food scene itself, I feel like it's very, very underrated. Even
mhm,
in that big Mexican top 5 I did, a lot of hateful comments saying, "Yeah, right, Sac has no good Mexican food." Like, I've heard Sac's Mexican food in particular is, like, not good at all, and that's far from the truth. I can think of any type of food, and I could think of a great place to go to for it. Like, there's nowhere where I'm like, "Nah, Sacramento doesn't really have that, or doesn't really have that type of good food of that type or that sort."
hmm,
Um, you name what type of food you want, I can definitely send you somewhere good.
yeah,
Sacramento has a good food scene.
yeah, so is there a type of food that if you were to say, like, someone's coming to Sacramento for a day, what kind of food would you say, "If you wanna taste Sacramento, this is the kind of food I think is the best?"
Um It's a little hard only because I feel like my favorites have been the smaller places.
Yeah.
Um, the private chefs that have cooked for me, the people that do it from their kitchen, the food vendors out on the streets, whether it's downtown or like the best smash burger I think in Sacramento is Senor Burgers. He's just a food truck, and his chopped cheese and burgers are so flavorful. I
Mhm.
tried his breakfast the other day and really flavorful.
That was the first
Um,
video I saw, was that it was like a pastrami burrito, right? I was like
yes.
I was like,
Like,
"I
who
gotta
does
eat
that?
that." Yeah, I was like, "I gotta eat that." Yeah.
Pork belly, English muffin breakfast sandwich? Like, You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like, so
yeah,
yeah, I can honestly I can sit here and tell you guys all different types of places to go to, but if you're asking me what makes Sacramento food scene, I feel
mhm,
like it's the locals that bring that certain type of Sac flavor out, and do it with love. Like, you can taste it right away. You can I love my favorite thing when I review is when I can taste how far into their craft somebody is. I
mhm,
can taste when somebody has really perfected their craft. I can taste when they're about to get there, when they kind of started and aren't quite there yet. Like, and I feel like Sacramento has a lot to offer when it comes to their own unique taste. Like when it comes to their own fusions to every food, whether
mhm,
it's a burger, a Mexican food, a pizza, scorched pizza, some of the best pizza I've ever had, and that's
mhm,
downtown at like a small ghost kitchen.
yeah.
Um, and they're from
Scorched
Boston.
pizza. Scorched pizza?
Scorched pizza.
You said that's
Yes.
where?
Downtown. They're gonna close soon next month, I believe,
Mm.
just because they're looking to expand into getting their own restaurant, their own
Oh, okay.
location, so
Oh, so is
so
this
yeah,
like a food this is like a food truck?
no, they're like in a ghost kitchen, so it's like
Oh.
one of those kitchens where, like, it's maybe 5 different establishments that share it,
Oh,
and work out of it,
gotta go
but
try that out then. Gotta try it before they
yeah.
close.
Have to. They're originally from the East Coast, from Boston, and then they've been living here for a while, so it's like they added their Sacramento flavor too, and that's what I mean, like, I feel like Sacramento's so diverse when it comes to just race or people even just migrating, from different areas, and that alone brings so much just different influence and flavors and, uh uh uh, I don't know, just a different way of doing things.
Yeah, perhaps you can tell me, like, when you're looking at a restaurant, um, other than just the food, what are some things that you're looking for that makes a restaurant stand out?
First, smiles. Not even just how you greet me, but the way you make me feel throughout the whole experience, the energy that I'm feeling, as soon as I walk in. I'm also looking at your decor,
Mm,
seeing, that alone shows me, the authenticity sometimes in places. Um, and then, uh, cleanliness, how clean is your establishment? It has to do with the way that people perceive your location, and your food. So I
mhm,
think that's very, very important. Also, your customers. What type
mhm,
of people are you attracting to your establishment?
mm.
I can tell a lot by what type of, whether it's age group, race. Like I can just tell, if a place is really good, if it's bringing these certain type of people to this certain type of establishment or food.
Mm. So there's I don't know if you've ever heard of Market Monica's in Carmichael? You heard of the pizza place?
No, actually, no.
So it's just a one spot shop, and I was gonna say, I'm like, you gotta review that. Here's the reason why though. So I love it. It's my favorite pizza of all time, but I don't know if that's nostalgia just because I lived in Carmichael or if it's legitly that good. So I'm like, I need a guy to go in there and review it and tell me if it really is that good. I think it is. It reminds me like a better, more hearty Mountain Mike's.
Okay.
But, like, the thing I love about it is, it's a mom and pop shop, like, one owner, Mark, has owned it his whole life. I think he passed away and his kids are running it now.
Uh,
It went through a fire and still came back. I mean, they're doing
wow.
so it's really cool, but the one thing I love about that, I'm a big eater too, and, I can go through a whole Papa John's pizza and not feel like I'm full at all. I can't,
Wow.
I eat like yeah, I eat, like, a few pieces of this and I feel like I feel like I'm full.
Was
It's like I
pretty
mean, you
full,
can
yeah.
yeah, you can't tell, man. I'm 6'7" and I'm about 300 pounds, so it's like, I'm a big dude.
You're 6'7"?
I am, yeah, I'm a bigger guy.
Holy.
Yeah. I need to start doing these live because like, in person because nobody really catches it on the Zoom, but yeah, or on the
Absolutely
stream, but
not. You're almost a whole foot taller. I'm only 5'9", so
yeah.
that's crazy.
Yeah, man. But as far as, like, different restaurants and stuff like that, you look at all of those different things. You ever had anybody who you went to, and you just had a negative opinion and you know, just based on all of the other things other than the food?
Oh, 100%, 100%.
Mhm,
I guess the time that I could bring up right now just because I barely posted it, like
mhm,
maybe last month. was a sushi all you can eat sushi place in Natomas.
Mm,
Um, I reviewed them last year, and I chose to purposely not post it because I was so upset. I didn't even feel like, the mother of my kids was like, "Well, you should post it regardless. It's your experience, whether it's good or bad. That's your page." But I
mhm,
said, "You know what? You're right." But I also don't feel like giving them the exposure and just putting it out there. I just don't. I don't want the negativity. I just don't want to do that. Um, but I recently put it out because I was like, you know what? Whatever. You need content out, and your experience is your experience. They deserve to know. Might be able to save other people from not going through what you went through. So, um, this place, the moment I walked in, was very beautiful. Flowers coming down everywhere. Very, very nice, clean establishment. But the moment I walked in and I was greeted by the host, I was completely turned off.
mm,
I I hate when people make me feel like I'm coming into an establishment, coming to freeload when I'm coming to do a job. Like,
right.
it's me driving, it's my time, it's recording, it's editing, it's a lot of countless hours that people don't really take into account that, I put into this. So,
Yeah.
as soon as I got there, I always make sure I tell the establishment, if I'm gonna bring the mother of my kids and my kids, that way they're not thrown off or they don't think, you know. And I always tell them like they'll just eat off what I'm eating, right? It's a lot of food I get at every establishment. There's no
Mhm,
need to, bring more or anything. Like, they'll just eat,
right.
what I eat. So I got there and the host starts like making a face and making it a big deal, and this is in front of the mother of my kids and my kids, and my 7-year-old is like starting to feel uncomfortable and put his head down, and it was just a horrible experience, and I was this close to leaving. I still stuck it out. And
Mhm,
the part that made me the most upset was the moment that I took out my equipment and set everything up. She
mhm,
came and was so nice, and that
right.
just rubbed me off so, it took for you to see that I am someone in this industry for you to treat me with respect and like you should have from the start, you know?
Right.
And you shouldn't have made my family feel uncomfortable and like they were doing something wrong when they're
Mm,
just coming with me to support me. Like
right.
that was just uncalled for. So I'm very, very big when it comes to customer service. I feel like that's bigger than the food.
Mm,
Um, Food, I can always be honest with you and say it might need a little more of this, a little more of that, and we can move on. But the way you treat me and, not having I'm huge on respect. So the moment you lose that from me, it's just it's gone. Honestly,
yeah.
it's
I think I know the video you're talking about, and I gotta tell you, man, your reaction was actually made me laugh, like, the way you were because you were there was that part where she comes in and you're like, "Oh, now she sees that I got a camera out," and all of a sudden, yeah, and you just, like, talking under your breath, and I just
I,
felt it, I was like, "I feel that, man, I feel that."
I even put a part that I was told not to put, and I said, that I was so mad that I was like, "I'll beat you up." Like, but I said
Yeah,
it under my breath. And,
right,
some people took it the wrong way. Some women commented, and it's like, I'm huge on domestic violence. I've never been part of domestic violence. I will never touch a female. But that alone should show you how disrespected I was.
yeah.
If like that's what was going under my breath as you're walking by me. Like,
Yeah. Yeah,
you
no,
know,
I didn't take that way at all, I laughed, I thought it was funny. I mean, they just 'cause I've been there, it's funny because you just I'm the same way you are with customer service. I sold cell phones for a few years. I was a manager of a cell phone store and in customer service, and I am of the opinion that over the years, customer service has taken a nosedive in so many different places. And so when I
100%.
I'm the type of guy where if I see somebody go above and beyond, I will go to the manager and say, "This person, this employee helped me out, love them. They're the
Same.
best." I will do I'll do the surveys that they ask if they did a great job, and it takes a lot for me to give a negative review, but yeah, I mean, if I feel like they messed up, like, I will let them know, not like yelling and screaming, but I'll be you know, I I'm big on that, so I totally get everything that you're saying.
Oh,
You
100%.
do you find that, because I know most of what you do is kinda local mom and pop stuff. Do you find that you get better customer service at those places than maybe chain restaurants?
Not always. Not
Oh,
always.
really? Really?
Not always. I think it just depends on the establishment and the people running it. Sometimes I go to big restaurants, big names, and they're really good, with me. And sometimes I go to big restaurants and they're not. And the same thing with small mom and pops. I mean, you would think, right? Because they're the ones handling it and it's more hands on and they want to, portray and give a certain at least feel or image, to the customers. But it's
Right.
not always like that. Sometimes I go to some local spots and it's like, wow, you're acting like you barely want to serve me and I'm here to, help you out, like
Yeah, you would think because of what because you're telling them, "Hey, I run a YouTube show, I do local food reviews." You would think that they would wanna roll out the royal treatment for you. You know what I mean? Because I mean, dude, I mean, and I don't think people understand, so some people might hear that you're halfway, you're over 500 subscribers, but you have almost 10,000 people on Instagram, right?
Mhm.
And you have I don't know what you have on TikTok and Facebook, but I gotta imagine you got a few thousand or something like that, or maybe you just started,
Yeah.
but the point is what people don't understand, like, my daughter and I were just talking about this because I told her, I told her I was like, "Yeah, I looked it up and I ran the numbers, and as far as what they call indie podcasts, which means I don't have a sponsor or I'm not hooked up to some podcast network, I found out, I'm on the top 5% of indie podcasts."
Wow.
But, as far and I have thousands of people all over. Thank you, but the
Of
thing is
course. It's amazing.
but I was telling her, I go, "Well, that should just tell you how many really, really bad podcasts there are out there." Because 'cause I'm like, because 'cause I'm not I don't have a ton of people, but she put it into perspective where she was like, because I told her, I was like, "I have like 2,500 subscribers on YouTube, and then I got a bunch of people all over social media, kinda like you, and she goes, "Yeah, but if you put 2,500 people, do you realize that if you put 2,500 people in a room, how many people that would be you're talking to?" And I go, "Wow." And so people might not understand that, like, when you say I've got over 500 subscribers and 10,000 people on Instagram, that is a lot of work to get there. You know what I mean? That is a lot of work, and that's a big deal. Most places that do what you do never get there because they don't have the wherewithal to do it for a year and a half. You know what I mean? And so
100%.
so but that might be a good thing so walk me through the process. So you put videos that are less than 3 minutes long generally, but how much work goes into putting that 3-minute video in?
If people only knew. Not only just because it's a lot of work in itself, it's very, very time consuming, but I'm a perfectionist.
Mhm,
So I put in the extra time. Like that's why when people say they love my content and like my quality of my work, it's very, very well done. I those comments just hit me a certain way because I only know the countless hours and time that I put into this. Like I to record, right? I have friends that do reviews too. They're so quick. They'll like grab the item, take a bite, say a few things, next, maybe have a 7-minute video to edit, and they're done. Me,
mhm,
when I go edit, usually my videos are like 30 minutes or and above. So they're like
mhm,
really long. And then I have to chop all that down into a minute and a half, 2 minutes and a half tops. Because the longer people's attention spans nowadays are very small. So I notice the shorter the video, sometimes the better.
yeah,
Um, just get to the point. So I have to chop down a 30-minute video to about two and a half, find all the gems, find all the best parts. And then I have to sit there and if you notice my work, if you really watch my work, there's a lot of effects. There's a lot of,
yeah.
editing, captions, my out of the sparks, like all these things. Like it's very, very, like I sit there for at least 3 hours editing before I'm like even content with what I have. So
I and I know as someone who used to edit my reels like that. Like, luckily with a podcast, you really don't have to do all that, with what
mhm,
I'm doing, but I know how much time that takes, and it's hard work. Like, people don't understand that that's not even including the calling the place, letting them know you're coming, driving down there,
right.
getting the food, eating the food, recording everything, then packing up your stuff, going back, loading it up. The people don't even understand how long it takes to load something up into YouTube. If your Wi-Fi isn't going hot, like, that takes a long time too, you know what I mean? it's a grind to do that, and
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
watching that's why I loved your content. I'm watching, I'm like, "Dude, this guy's putting in a ton of work into these three-minute videos." Have you ever
Oh, a lot.
have you ever thought about, you said you get 30-minute of content. Have you ever thought about just paring that down to, like, 7 or 8 minutes and then still doing the minute and a half video and having the minute and a half video feed to the 7-minute video on YouTube?
Before, no, I guess I didn't really have that vision, until recently, like I said, my friend Eatz, he started, just opening my eyes to the fact and saying, "Hey, like, this is what you wanna start doing." Like, if I were you, I would make those little content videos for your social media, but then I would make at least, like, 8 to 10-minute videos of all the, that you got and put it on YouTube, it's gonna take you a lot further.
Yeah, because man, I'll tell you what, like, I used to podcast and not do reels, and it was slow going, right? And then I
Yeah.
started doing the reels, and that's what got me the subscribers, was the reels
Uh,
moving in, and the shorts will do that too, but if the shorts can feed into your long form content, and I mean, long form comments, anything over 3 minutes. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So, if you get like a 10-minute video and you get 10,000 views on that, I mean, that just goes towards that 4,000 hours and you start generating a lot faster. That's how I would do it because your content is great, man. Like I said, I mean, I'm looking at it and I'm like, "Oh,
Thank you.
finally," I went through a bunch of videos and I was like, "I gotta see I got like 7 places I gotta go." You know what I mean? Because I gotta check all those places out. Because man, what was the place, was it I wrote it down, you had this one place on your top 5 breakfasts that had like a caramel apple waffle, and I was like, "Oh,
Oh,
dude," I was like, "That place is where I'm going."
that's Morning Fork.
Morning
The
Fork,
Morning
that's right.
Fork.
Yeah,
That place has been around for a long time. It has so much history, and it's very, very good. Their
yeah,
dishes are crazy. It has that, like, old school diner feel too to it.
yeah,
You will wait, though.
yeah,
You will wait for a line for you to be able to get a seat, that's for sure, but it's worth it.
yeah,
So
man.
worth it.
Yeah, so, do you do some traveling. How often do you do traveling outside of Sacramento?
Um, I try to be as, like, consistent with it, like, as opportunities open up.
Mhm.
But of course, sometimes it's hard, just because I do have kids and I do have a 9 to 5 and, things that pop, that just pop off and happen. My son's been very sick for like a month or two now, just different things,
Oh,
back
man.
to back.
Yeah.
So
It's
it's
been going
it's been a
around.
little, yeah, that it has. So yeah, I try to make time. Like for 4th of July weekend, I'm thinking of just heading out to the Bay, staying out there the weekend, and just shooting nothing but content out there in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
Um,
That's
so
awesome.
I try. I still need to do a SoCal trip. I still need to
Dude.
do a trip outside of California. I haven't reviewed outside of California. That's another goal of mine.
Yeah. Dude, I mean, that's the thing though, man. There's so many good hidden spots out here, especially with all the different taquerias around. I see one on every corner and I'm like, they've got to be good. I mean, there's just I'm like the smaller, the better. You know what I mean? Like just you've never heard
And
of it
not all of
before. It's
them,
gotta
and not
yeah.
all of them. I've
Uh-huh.
stopped by so many, and just as much as wow, these are some of the best tacos I've had, I've also, nah, I probably won't come back to this place, so.
Yeah. Yeah. Describe your rating system.
So I do 1 out of 10.
Mhm.
Um, I try not how could I explain it? I try to give everything a fair rating, meaning I'm honest with myself as possible. So, like, if it gets out of this park and then set my taste buds off, it's gonna be a 9 and above.
Mhm.
I do even points, so like 9.2, 9.3, because sometimes, I wanna distinguish how good of a 9 one thing was from another. Um, and then if it was, not the best, but like really good, I'll give it, anywhere between an 8 and 9. If it was fair, like it still did its job, if, I was hungry, it still did its job. It's from a 7 to 8. Anything below a 7, it's gonna be like me really just probably won't come back for it. And anything below a 5, it's just
Avoid
uh,
this place.
avoid this place at all costs. Like,
Yeah,
and again, it's my opinion. It's just my opinion, you know.
yeah. You use you say one, it's Cheeks, and what's the other one?
Yee. So, yee. It's so
Yeah,
in the Bay
yeah,
Area, it's a big saying that we do. So like they might call your name, you say yee. If
uh-huh,
you know, you say is it good or not, you might say yee. If they say
uh-huh,
does is that song, you know, is it going crazy, you say yee. So it's just in our vocabulary in the Bay Area. I
okay,
tried to get, like I said, I used to rap, so I tried to get clever with my slogan, and I did
yeah,
Dez NorCal Eats, with either yee or his cheeks, and it
yeah,
worked. It's worked.
yeah,
I've had so many people in my DMs and my messages say, "Hey, I've followed you literally based off your slogan. Like, I love your
yeah,
slogan. Like, it's
yeah,
so catchy, and so it's done good for me."
yeah, man. So you think you're gonna try and open a restaurant yourself? You gonna try and do something like that? If you're a cook?
Wow, you're trying to open all the get all the cats out of the bag. Nah.
Yeah,
um, I'm going to be honest with you. When I first started this food page and content,
mhm,
that was nowhere near like my site. Like that wasn't even a thought.
mhm,
Um, Now that like I've gotten so much opportunities open lately. Just on Instagram, I just grew like 3,000 followers in like 2 weeks. Like
yeah.
I've been Facebook. I had like 3 point something followers. Now I'm at 7,000 followers. So yeah, I've just been blowing up lately. So
And this is all based
uh
on that the million view reel you did?
correct. Cause on
How
Facebook
goes, man?
it got
How
like
goes?
500,000 on Facebook too. So
Yeah, yeah,
it started opening so many doors for so many opportunities, so many partnerships now. Like, so I just had this talk with Man Eats the other day. I was like, the sky is starting to look like, is the limit, like
yeah,
there's everything is going up now. So I just recently had a talk about that. And I told him, I said, hey, if we get big enough, if you're down, I want to be able to open up a restaurant. Maybe we could partner and stuff. And he's so down. He's very into the food scene here in Sacramento as well. And
yeah.
I
You
feel
know what
like me and him.
you know what I thought? Just thought, have you ever thought about doing your own, like, Foodie Land festival? Like, just inviting a bunch of your favorite places and do host your own. I bet you could make a killing on that.
It's crazy you're saying this because this was another conversation I just had with him. So, like I said, just all these opportunities have been even changing my mind and my perspective of how far I can take this. And that was another thing I actually talked to him about. I said, everyone complains about Foodie Land being so expensive, and I even saw Citrus Heights was having a big food truck event soon coming up.
Mhm,
I think at the
mhm.
end of this month. But
Yeah, I
I saw
know.
so many of the vendors like commenting saying, "Oh, this is no good for the vendors and stuff." So I told Manveer, I said, "Hey, why don't we, try to do our own? I don't see why we can't, set this up." Like,
Yeah, man. I mean, every time I've ever seen, like, you know, that there's a bunch of places that do, like, Mexican Heritage Days and stuff like that, and they do a bunch of food trucks that always seem to be making a killing. Like,
killing.
I bet if you did a Foodie Land, we had a bunch of different types of food. I remember, I went to, what's that thing called? Winter Wonderland or something. They do it down at Cal Expo every year at Christmas. And I remember I went one year with my kids, and I remember they were like they said there was gonna be an international food court, and I was like, "Oh, dude, that's why I wanna go." And then it was just like it was the worst, man. It was so bad. None of it was good. So I'm like, "You know what? If you did like an international food, like you said, like a Foodie Land thing," because one of the things I liked about one of your contents too was you showed the prices of, like, a place that was like an In-N-Out place, like somewhere you said was better than In-N-Out, but it's only like $6 for a hamburger. And I'm like, "Dude,
Yeah.
that's great because some of these food trucks are so crazy expensive. To see somebody that's cheap that will, you know so I bet you could make a killing on that, especially as you get bigger.
Oh, for sure, for sure. I feel like maybe I might not be quite there yet, but I'm definitely starting to reach those type of um stages of this career for sure. I've even just recently started being able to monetize off Facebook, and
Yeah.
TikTok Shop wants me to do all these videos now for them, and so yeah, I think with time I can definitely get to that point for sure.
Yeah, man, and that's what's so funny is it just takes one. Like, that's the thing is that there's so many of these people. I read somewhere, like, for podcasts, most podcasts don't go past 20, And I'm like, "Man, 20 videos, I didn't even know what I was doing yet." You know what I mean? Like,
Same.
it takes a ton, and it's like, "Yeah, you know what? And 21 was gonna be the one that blew you up." You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing, and so, praise to you, man, for doing that. You're killing it over there. You're getting there.
I'm gonna be honest with you. About a month ago, I actually almost quit.
Mhm.
I saw the metrics not moving as much as I wish they would, in the time frame that I've been doing it. A huge enemy of yours is always going to be comparison,
Yeah.
seeing what others are doing and how they're going up and stuff. And um, I also support, having a lot of support when it comes to like your family and the people that are around you has a lot to do with it. And sometimes you're not going to get that support. They're not going to see the vision like you. They might see it as a waste of time as opposed to you seeing it for what it really is or how you view it. And all this made me almost quit. That million view video literally was a Hail Mary. Like I
Mhm.
hadn't reviewed in a couple weeks. I had no content to post. And at my job, a lot of people found out about my food page. Like that's how much I've been blowing up. And they said, "Well, what are your top 5 Mexican spots?" And I was like, "Well, let me go back and look." And I got the
Mhm.
idea of like, you know what? Let me do a top 5 Mexican. Everybody loves Mexican food and it's subjective, so it's gonna get a lot of engagement.
Mhm.
Um, Throw it out there. If this video hits 100K or more, then you're meant to do this. Like you're meant to do this. This is your call, and you need to keep going. If it doesn't, then it's okay. I guess you can stop. My goal was to do 100 videos because I think like you. People quit before they're gonna get there, and 20 videos is not much. So I told myself, give yourself a real chance. At least do 100 videos. You can't quit until you hit 100 videos. And I
Mhm.
was already over 100 videos at this point, and I was like, you know what? I'm not liking this anymore, and I'm not getting the support that I want and need. So I'm just gonna stop. I posted this as a Hail Mary, and not only did it get the 100K that I needed for me to continue, but it hit my first million. So
Yeah.
if that isn't life or whoever telling me,
Yeah.
you need to keep at this. This is your thing. You helping local businesses, you having a genuine heart and doing this for them and helping, just establishments that need it. Like this is your calling. And
Yeah,
now
man.
I can't even see myself quitting.
Yeah, man, I had a very similar situation, not just a little while ago, just life circumstances and stuff like that. I was like, I'm gonna take a little break, and I took a few months off from podcasting, and then all of a sudden, I got an email from somebody, you know, they're like, "Hey, do you wanna interview Demolition, WWE former, tag team champions or whatever?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I love wrestling. Why not? Why not do a podcast?" And so I set it up, and then the agent the day of was like, "Hey, just FYI," I was going on in about an hour. He's like, "Hey, just FYI, it just got announced that Demolition's going into the WWE Hall of Fame, just dropped today, so make sure you ask him about that." So I dropped it that day, and it blew up and got a bunch of stuff, and then I had another guy, they did the Artemis launch up to the moon, right? So
Yeah.
I'm like, "Why don't I have a flat earther come on and explain how they can be a flat earther when we're going to the moon," right? And I had him on, and that one blew up like crazy, and then I had another, and so it's just like, you just never know, right? I never would have guessed. I mean, the universe aligns at the right time and puts you off into the stratosphere. So I'm happy for you, man. Like, it's cool to get to know you. Like, it's cool to see this happening and at this time in your life and being able, it just goes to show, man, work hard. You'll get there. So,
I appreciate that so much. Especially you just highlighting that aspect alone. I'm
mhm,
huge on, you know, you get what you give. It's about how many shots you take. It's about having, you can. I always say this. I say this even to my 7-year old. When I try to teach him, like you have two options. You can either complain or do something about it. It's that simple. If
yeah,
if your life or maybe something you're passionate about or just anything is not aligning or where you want it to be, you literally have those two options. And if you go with not doing anything about it, then you can't complain.
yeah.
So
I've said this a bunch of times. My listeners are probably not are tired of hearing it, but might help you. You know, I I've often told my kids I've had the best and worst years of my life at the exact same time. And if I didn't just get up every day, like there were times in my life, even just in the recent past, where I mean, recent years, where I mean, it was bad for like years, and I had a choice. I could either just lay in bed and cry about it and be upset, and no one would have said I was wrong for doing it, right? Like everyone would have understood why I maybe didn't want to get up and go to work and do the things. But I just chose, I'm like, I'm just gonna keep grinding through. That's what I do. And I had some of the most successful and best years of my life at that exact same time. And if I hadn't done that, it'd just be the worst years of my life, right? And so
100%.
so I think there's life is all about perspective, man. It's all about your reality is shaped by what you're looking at. If you look at all the things that suck, then you're going to have a sucky life. If you look at all the things that are blessings, you're going to have a blessed life. You can choose.
Hundred
There's never going to be a time where everything's going great or everything's going terrible. There's mix and match for forever. I'm proud of you for doing. I just met you, but I'm proud of you for grinding through
Thank you,
and
man. Thank
getting
you.
through this, man. That's awesome. To wrap this up, I ask everybody 3 questions. So I'm gonna ask you these 3 questions, all right?
Okay.
What would you say is your biggest success in life?
Me as a father,
Mm, why is
I'm
that?
giving. Um, I know what kind of father I want to be, and I know I want to give my kids everything that I didn't have growing up. I lost my mom at 5. I
Mm,
had a father who was there. He provided, but wasn't really, Mexican culture is more of a provider for a dad. You're not going to have such an emotional or, different types of support. Um, and I want to be able to give my kids the father that I knew I always needed.
mm,
And seeing them become who they're becoming because of the structure that I bring to them and the love and support that I give to them, that alone is my biggest and my best accomplishment in life. Who, like I tell them, my job is to make them good men, bring good men into the world. So to me, that will always be what I'm most proud of for sure.
awesome. What was your biggest failure in life, and what did you learn from it?
Um, Not talking about it. This is a perfect question. It's Men's Mental, Health Awareness Month, and I
Mm,
feel like us as men, we don't talk about a lot. We
yeah,
and if we do, we feel like we get looked at a certain way. So I feel like at the lowest stages of my life, I didn't ask for help, I didn't reach out, and I let it get the best of me, and it dragged me down to some of the lowest times of my life. And I'm saying this to say, men out there, reach out, whether it's a loved one, whether you need to go to therapy, whether whoever you need to talk to. It's very, very important to not only vent and let it out, but to feel that love and support after you do so. It's huge. Cry. Just let it all when you let so much emotions down, I promise you, you feel so much lighter, and it's just an amazing feeling. So, uh, but yeah, I'd say that's probably my biggest failure is letting it bring me down as far as it did, and not doing, the necessary things I needed to do about it.
yeah. It's great advice, man, and that's the thing too, there's a time I think there's a time and a season for everything, and there's a time to be vulnerable, and there's a time to be the protector and the provider, right? And so, I remember my son one year, not too long ago, a few years back, I was at church and I bore a testimony and I teared up and he said, "I think that's the first time I've ever seen you cry." And I was like, "Really?" Well, hate to tell you, man, there's a lot of emotion back here that you don't get to see. You know what I mean? And it's important for them to see that you do worry, you do concern. And that's actually opened up a lot of good conversations with my boy, my kids, about
100%.
emotions. So that's awesome. So last question I ask everybody. Um, One day you're going to pass away, hopefully in way down the road, but you're going to pass away and there's going to be a funeral and then someone's going to give you a eulogy. What is the one thing you hope somebody says about you in your eulogy?
Who I was as a person.
Mm,
Um, I always tell this to my 7-year-old because he's, and I get it. He's 7. He's going to be about objects and materialistic things. But the one thing I always try to teach him, especially when he's just nothing's good enough for him, is you need to stop worrying about what you can't take when you pass away. When we pass away, we don't get to take none of this stuff. It's not about what you had or who you knew. It's the only thing that sticks when you go is who you were as a person. What kind
Mhm.
of an impact and effect did you have to those around you? You know,
Yeah.
that to me is the biggest thing for me. So I would say who I am as a person for
Yeah,
sure.
that's awesome, man. Well, Des, it's been great getting to know you. We're gonna have to keep in touch, man. I can't wait to watch you continue to ascend. If people wanna
Same.
follow you, where can they find you?
They can find me on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. It's all Dez NorCal Eats. On all of them, DezNorCaleat with a Z at the end, not a S.
Oh, I should have said something. I could have changed it on here.
You're okay. You're okay. You're
That's
okay.
good. That's good. Well, guys, everybody who's listening, check him out. Seriously, the content is awesome. I've watched a ton of his videos, and I got a bunch of
Thank you,
restaurants
man.
I'm going to
Thank
check out. So I can't wait to see you going on here. And we're going to have you back on when you set up that restaurant. You're doing a foodie show, or you're doing something. We're going to promote you on here because I love what you're doing.
I appreciate you so much, and you too, man. I did my homework. I told you I have morals and principles I have to stand by, so,
Yeah,
I actually did research on your page to make sure it's even a place where I want to be interviewed and I want to, uh, you know, spend my time on, and I love what you were doing. I love the type of content that you create, the type of people that you bring on, the type of information that you put out there. So definitely I'm here. I'm proud of you too, and I'm here to see your rise, as we both just keep doing what we love.
that's right, man. Awesome. Well, great. Well, people, listen. Don't forget to subscribe to Des NorCal Eats, and we'll see you next time.
See you guys. Appreciate you. Thank you so much.